Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this 2022 BMW M3 Competition. Huge shout out to Alta Auto Group for providing this sedan for me today. Definitely check out their website. They have a lot of awesome pre-owned inventory. That link is down in the description. But the M3 that you see behind me is finished off in Brooklyn Gray Metallic with an MSRP right around $76,000. As we move on to what powers this M3 now, underneath the hood is the 3-liter twin-power turbo inline 6-cylinder engine paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 503 horsepower around 6,300 RPM and 479 pound-feet of torque around 2,700 RPM. That power sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 3,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in as quick as 3.4 seconds with a top speed of 180 miles an hour. And it has a fuel capacity of 15.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city and 23 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 112.5 inches. Its overall length is 189.1. It has a width of 74.3 and a height of 56.4 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this M3, you'll notice that this particular model has a ton of carbon fiber, which is awesome to see for a family sedan like this. We're gonna start up front though with the kitting design for the grille. It's been very controversial on this newer model. I think it has a great design for the M cars. You can see that M3 Competition badge along with all the horizontal slats providing a lot of cooling to that engine with the BMW badge right in the middle. And as you can tell with carbon fiber, there's more air inlets on each side along with the cutouts that you can see in the far corners, and then all of the carbon fiber for that front lip spoiler. It definitely gives it a great look. Now this model also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals, which have a really nice design to them. I like how the DRL has that C-shaped design to it underneath the headlights and the high beams, which also have blue accents, which is a great touch to see. And then for the M3, you get a lot more contoured lines in the hood than the normal 3 Series. So I like those bulges that are on both sides. It meets the top of the kidney grille very nicely with the surround too. All of those lines just give it a really aggressive and clean look for the sedan. Now as we move on to the side, this particular M3 is lowered about an inch or so on a set of 20-inch wheels, finished off in bronze. This has the M Sport blue calipers just behind that. And then as you can tell, even more carbon fiber. It's in the lower side skirt. It's even on the M3 Competition badge just behind the front tires and on these power folding side mirrors. Now these have the integrated turn signal and a really nice design, especially with this part that protrudes over the top section to give it a nice look. And then this model has the full carbon fiber roof. It also has a nice design from the side. I like the lines in the lower side skirt. Then there's more of a subtle line going right at the height of the door handles. I also wanted to point out this side skirt actually goes out from the bodywork to help channel some of that airflow, make it a little bit more aerodynamic friendly. But as we make our way to the rear of this M3 Competition now, you can see the trunk lip spoiler finished off in more of that carbon fiber. This has a set of LED taillights. The backup camera is right in the middle. All the parking sensors are down in the lower section, along with more carbon fiber in that diffuser and that quad tip dual exhaust system. You can see that the carbon fiber protrudes just behind that back tire there, matching just in front of the back tire very nicely. So with the exterior wrapped up for this competition, let's make our way to the trunk space. I can use the button up underneath or hold the button on the key fob and it will release. Now this is not a power operated trunk, but it will open up all of the way. And as you can tell, for this family sedan, there is definitely plenty of room. There's a 12-volt and a storage bin on the passenger side. There's also a net over on this driver's side. As you can tell with some items currently in here, definitely a lot of space. And you can even fold down the back seats too. So just by pulling on these handles, you can see just how much more interior storage there is, especially if you're using this as a daily driver. Now, like I said, there's no power trunk, but it's very lightweight, so you can easily close it up. Now, as we work our way to the back seats, you can actually lock and unlock this using the door handle. It will, however, automatically lock and unlock depending on how far you are away from the car. That's a proximity feature that you can change. Now, as we move on to this interior, you can see the orange leather, perfect contrast against this exterior gray. Now this model has the Harman Kardon sound system along with the interior ambient lighting, so you can see that within the brushed aluminum trim piece. There's even more brushed aluminum on the release handle, a little bit of storage space in the lower section, and then there's gray stitching matching nicely running right through the middle. And now at 5'10", I can make my way into the back seats where I do have the front seat set at my height. So you can see there's a little bit of room for my feet and my legs. Right in the middle, there are 2 air vents along with the climate adjustments for your backseat passengers. So there's the temperature and where you'd like the air to go. And then 2 USB-Cs are at the very bottom. And then as far as headroom goes, I have about a ½ inch or so above my head. They are comfortable seats though. I could easily be back here for a long period of time. So while there's not a lot of headroom, it's definitely comfortable for 3 people to be in the back. Now right in the middle, if I pull just underneath the headrest, you can actually fold this entire piece down. So if you need longer items to go through the middle, you have the option to do that. You could use this as an armrest too if you needed to. And then as far as visibility goes, very thin pillar. So it's very open feeling for your backseat passengers. Now as we make our way to the front seats now, the door panel's finished off just like the rear. We have the addition of all of the window controls, side mirror adjustments, even the memory seating adjustments too. You can release the trunk from the down below, and there's a little bit more storage space if you need to use it. And then you'll see M3 Competition down on the door sill, and the very beautiful leather seats with M3 and the 2-tone design. Now these are automatic seats, however you can manually adjust the front section just by pulling on that tab if you need a little bit more comfort for your legs. And then it's just as easy to enter the front seats. So that door sill is very low, makes it easy to enter and exit of course. And this is one of my favorite parts about this particular model. We have the carbon fiber steering wheel with the perforated leather, the M badge down below, orange stripe running right down the middle to match these seats, along with the orange stitching. Very aggressive steering wheel for this family sedan. And there's a lot of controls to use on it too. Over on this right side, you'll see volume and tuning for the radio along with Bluetooth. On the left side is all the cruise control settings. There's even M1 and M2, so you can set the driving modes and have presets for those. And then we have the massive carbon fiber steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. Going to be very fun to use those out on the road. Let's fire up this M3 though. With my foot on the brake, that button is over on the right side, and we'll bring this to life. And then looking at this digital gauge cluster now, on the left side is the fuel gauge and the miles per hour. On the right side is the tach and the engine temperature. You can currently see the navigation is right in the middle. And then within the tach, you can go through a lot more information using that button on the top of the turn signal stock. So currently you can see the odometer along with some other information. If I push on that once, now you can look at the PSI along with the temperature for the tires. You can pull up live readouts for some vital information, even look at live readouts for horsepower and torque. So if I give the vehicle some gas, you can see those adjust. You can even pull up the G-force meter, look at your phone when you have that paired, and you can see what driving modes the vehicle is currently set to. And then the last one here, we are into what gear you're in, and there's a live readout for your MPG. So that is all that you get in the center gauge cluster. It's not a whole lot, but it is very nice to have all of that usable information. Now over on the left side of the steering wheel, you'll see there's a small compartment where you could place some items if you need to. There's all the headlight adjustments, more of that interior lighting strip. And then as we move on to the center, we have the massive touchscreen system where you can go through a lot more information. So on this home screen right now, you can see navigation along with media. There's the weather. You have your setup for the different driving modes, engine data, tire data, and you can look at a few more on this last page. And then over on the far left, these are all presets basically. So you can quickly get to your music. You have your phone, so you can go through all of that information. Even pull up the navigation in full screen and obviously put in all of that info when you need to. If we go into car now, there's a lot more info to go through, and I'm gonna use the rotary dial down below to further go through this info. So if we go into the M menu right now, this is where you can configure M1 and M2. So basically you can have all of this set up the way that you like to. So when you push on that button, everything is set up. You don't have to go through this again. Makes it very quick. So if you have your daily driving button and then your fun backroads mountain or track driving button, you can toggle between both of them, which is very helpful to have. And then we can go into the vehicle status so you can monitor all this information. You can even go into settings, look at some general information, all of your lighting. This is how you can also go through the interior ambient lighting. You can go through all of the climate adjustments. You even have key fob setting buttons too. So it's very helpful to have all of that. There's driver profiles, even the owner's manual too. And then the last one is apps. So you can go through the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, along with all these other installed apps, just depending on what you'd like to use the most. Very helpful to have all of that information. And then down below, along with this rotary dial, there's shortcuts to map and navigation, along with home, media and phone, and back and option are just behind that. Now, right in the middle, you'll see there's another smaller LCD screen for all the climate adjustments, and right above that is a shortcut to the intelligent safety. So I can go in and monitor the forward collision, the lane departure, even the active blind spot. So it's nice to have that readily available. There's an air vent on both sides along with more of this brushed aluminum, and that is even on all of the AC adjustments. So there's a fan speed, temperature dials, and where you'd like the air to go. And this even has cooled seats, so those buttons are on both sides. You can actually change that dial to the heated seat adjustment just depending on what you like to have. So it's a multi-purpose button for both of those, for driver and passenger, which is fantastic to see. It makes it a little bit less cluttered. And then there's some other AC controls on both sides. As we work our way below that, these are all the presets for the radio. Power and volume is on this left side, tuning is on the right side, and we have even more carbon fiber on this cover. Very nice to see that. It reveals a wireless charging port along with a USB. There's a 12 volt and 2 cup holders. And then there's more carbon fiber surrounding all these controls. Now, if we work our way to this shifter, if I push it to the left and up, it will hold for reverse, where you'll see the backup camera appear along with the sensors on that right side. You can have just the sensors if you'd like to, but of course, that rear view camera gives you all that visibility. Drive is going to be down and over to the right, and if you pop it once more to the right, that will go into the manual settings, so you can use these paddle shifters. Park is on the back side, and then right next to that, you can actually adjust how quickly you'd like the transmission to shift. So there are 3 different settings for that. And then on the left side, you'll see traction control along with the parking sensors. There's the engine start stop feature. We even have the M mode, and what that's going to do is actually change the gauge cluster. So this is the traditional gauge cluster that you already saw, and now we have the M mode where you have what gear you're in right in the middle, and then the tach is on both sides along with your speedometer and some vitals to the left and the right. Behind that, there's a setup button. You can even adjust the exhaust note, as you already heard. There's the parking brake, the auto hold assist, even an M3 Competition badge. And right in the middle with the leather wrapped armrest, if I open this up, there's a little bit of storage along with an auxiliary if you need to use that. And over on the passenger side, you can see more of that ambient lighting, carbon fiber and brushed aluminum, and plenty of room in that glove box for anything that you'd like to place. We'll take another look at this interior. Very beautiful color combo. I love to see this. And then up in the center, there's a call button on the back side, and then the dome lights are in front of that. All right, as we get behind the wheel of this BMW M3, this is not the first M3 that I've been able to drive, but every time I get behind the wheel of an M3, it is going to be, or it's always completely different. I've been in the Sao Paulo one, pretty much the bright green with the bright green and blue interior. I've been in some more laid back models. This spec here is kind of bold yet subtle at the same time with the exterior gray and then all of the orange for the interior. I don't think I've seen an M3 that's been the same spec as another M3. So I like the fact that you pretty much can customize these however you'd like to and give yourself something a little bit unique. So if you're looking for a sedan, but you don't want it to be like everybody else, but you want something that's still practical, you can get an M3. And I think that this is the first one I've been behind the wheel of that has this amazing steering wheel. You'd never think that what I'm gonna call a family sedan, now I get a lot of comments on why I call it a family sedan, because this is something that you can daily drive. This is a practical vehicle, but it just has all that power that you're looking for and this very unique steering wheel. I love how comfortable this is, and it gives it a cool vibe from this driver's seat. So I definitely like the amount of options that you can go with for the M3. You can get the M3 or the M3 Competition like what we're in. The M3 will give you the option of going with the manual transmission. So if you are a 3-pedal kind of person, you can still get the sedan with a manual. But down to 2nd gear, we're going to give it another slight acceleration. As far as visibility goes though, it is so easy to see all around. This makes it for a great and practical daily driver because of the amount of visibility you have. But then I am short shifting since it's not my vehicle. This has so much more potential than what I'm throwing at it. And these are just a ball to drive. I love how comfortable they are. And they're very subtle in the fact that all the technology here is easy to use, but it's not overboard at the same time. So if you're looking for something where you don't want all those extra bells and whistles necessarily. That's what I love about BMW. We have this digital gauge cluster, but unlike some other brands, you don't have a lot to go through, but I like that. I like how simple it is with all the usable information that you need. So it's not too confusing, and pretty much you can set it and forget it with a few settings here and there, but there's not a million different things to go through. So this is a vehicle that you're looking to buy. You want the sports car performance, I'll say, but you need the practicality of a sedan, and you really don't want a lot to go through. You just want to get out and drive. This is such a fun car. And as we switch over to the POV angle, you can see what it's like to be behind the wheel of this M3. There's some shift lights too that will appear right on both sides of what gear you're in. So you can see those just to give you more of that race-inspired vibe. But this is definitely the place to be. Now, I really haven't shown M1. M1 is very toned back, very laid back. So when you're driving this, maybe to work every day, you're just not feeling it that day, you can put it into M1. It's going to soften up the suspension a little bit, as well as the throttle input and some other features like that. But hopefully, as you just heard, I put it into M2 and it immediately downshifted. Even in automatic mode, without using the paddles, it gets very aggressive. It's insane to see how quick this transmission can get, or how slow it can get, depending on the mode that you're in, as well as the transmission setting. It is so cool to go from just kind of a boring-ish type of vehicle to incredibly quick shifts. It's a complete night and day difference with how you want to drive this. So I love how configurable this is as far as the driving settings go. Because you can configure it for whatever style driving you are ready for the day. One last acceleration. And it is so quick. But unfortunately, I think that's going to wrap it up for my walk-around review and test drive behind the wheel of the all-new BMW M3 Competition. Once again, huge shout out to Alta Auto Group for providing this sedan for me today. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.